Would you like to discover the top 5 communication styles and negative communication examples? Hey, I'm Antje Boyd, founder and creator of the Magnetize Your Man method. And look, if you are new to my channel, don't forget to click that bell right below so you get notified for the next juicy videos coming your way that help you to attract that right man. So let's go ahead and dive right in and learn about communication styles. Style number 1 is the assertive communication style. This is the healthiest and the most recommended communication style because it is really upfront. It is really honest. It is really authentic. And also it is actually balanced. So this is like one thing that is really important. So this particular person actually makes sure that she creates win-win situations, but she will not sell out on herself. She will assert her needs. She will assert her desires that are right for her while also keeping the other needs in mind as well. This person is compassionate and she's also very, very confident. Now, I call that in my 6 feminine archetypes, the queen, right? The queen is the nice balance between the bitch, who's just like self-absorbed, just focuses on herself, is really disconnected from the other person, but definitely confident, and the doormat, who's actually really connected and very loving and warm, but doesn't respect herself, right? So the assertive style is really the queen of the styles. Style number 2 is the aggressive communication style. Now, as the word already promises or reveals, I will say it is much more threatening, right? It's more like this bully approach, right? Like, I'm gonna make you agree with me, right? I don't really care what you have to say, right? So it's really sort of like more intrusive communication style. It's definitely much more straightforward and really inconsiderate, and it's really more about like my way or the highway, right? So you may find some of those communication styles around narcissists, right? That are just really more interested in their own interest, and they're willing to leave everybody alongside. They're really not interested in creating any kind of situations where both parties benefit. They're just looking out for themselves. Obviously, a negative communication style example, because it's not going to create long-term friendship, trust, relationships, or any kind of thing. Instead, you're actually creating a lot of like disruptions in your relationships at work, and it's just not going to work long-term at all, even though short-term you may get what you want. Style number 3, the passive aggressive communication style. Wow, okay, I would say this is probably one of the more dangerous communication styles, because here the person is actually much more covert versus overt in her communication style, right? So there's actually a lot of anger and a lot of resentment in the person herself, but she is just not able to communicate that directly due to upbringing. Maybe it wasn't safe to speak up. Maybe she had to be a people pleaser, right? So she'll be like much more passive aggressive in her approach. And what that really means, it's like there may be like some sarcasm underlying, there may be withdrawal, there may be sudden disconnection, miscommunication, right? That are happening between the two of you, right? Where you're just like, wait a minute, something is just off. Is something okay? Is everything okay with you? And then she'll be like, yeah, no, everything is okay with you. Everything is okay with me. And in reality, no, nothing is okay, right? Like it's a totally passive aggressive move, and or just like little like mentionings, right? There's sometimes just little mention something on the side and you almost don't catch it, right? So they don't outright say, I don't agree with you, but they're much more like, well, there's like other ways to do this, but it's okay, it's whatever, right? So they kind of like play it down and they minimize it very, very, very dangerous. And a lot of women who give their power away, who are raised to be people pleasers, who are raised to be perfectionists, they will end up in a much more likely in that passive aggressive communication style. Because what happens is like they still want to assert themselves from the inside, but they can't really do it because it's socially not accepted, or they're afraid of the shame that will come afterwards. So it comes out sideways. So the passive aggressive style I see more as like those sort of like the sideways communication style, right? And it's also like it comes out like really sort of like vicious and very, very like distorted. It's really sort of like out of context, and you just feel like what this person says, and then the energy is not matching. There is an incongruency here, right? There's like definitely a high level of lack of trust here, right? A lack of like a high level of mistrust. So definitely also very negative communication style, not recommended. Style number 4, the submissive communication style. Okay, so we just talked about the doormat, right? We just talked about passive aggressive. Now, this particular case, this is definitely the people pleaser par excellence. Also, codependence falls into that category where people are just always agreeing, right? They're saying yes to everything, and yes, I'm on board. Yes, you can come over. And there's absolutely no boundaries. Those people also have a really weak sense of self, a weak sense of core identity inside of themselves, instead are caught up in other people's energy the whole time, right? So they're actually following along what the other person wants, right? What their agenda is, what they want to accomplish for the day or for their life. And they totally forget what they actually want. Or again, due to their childhood experiences, it was simply not safe to actually speak up, right? So they actually try to agree as much as possible. They are also working on avoiding conflict as much as possible. So look, if you have a friend, a partner who is a little bit more of the submissive communication style, it's important to kind of open up a little bit more, like the safety space for them, and actually saying, you're really safe. You know what I mean? I really want to hear what you really have to say. And just really make that conflict like much more enjoyable, so to say, right? Make it much more of a connection experience for them, rather than a confronting experience. So this is how you're going to help a submissive communication style to actually speak their truth and create long-term harmony and connection between the two of you. And lastly, the 5th communication style is the manipulative communication style. Now, this is like really, really edgy, very dangerous, right? And oftentimes you can tell like there's a lot of manipulation that takes place through guilt tripping, through potentially being sleazy, through being, so you see a lot of that manipulation. For example, really interesting, you see it actually on Survivor, if you ever watched that reality TV show, right? Which is all about how to deceive other people, right? And so it's really about like, manipulating. It's like, okay, they have really the best interests in mind for themselves, but not for you. And they actually knowingly manipulate you, right? They want you to feel sad in that moment. They want you to feel guilty in that moment. They want you to feel angry in that moment. They want to get a reaction out of you in that moment. That's what really feeds them, right? And oftentimes those manipulative tactics are being used for one, to actually distract from themselves, from their own insecurities that they of course have inside of themselves, or maybe even the things that they got themselves into that is actually not so healthy, and maybe something that they could be blamed for, and they want to distract from themselves away, they project away from themselves, right? And instead gaslight you and manipulate you. So of course, watch out for that particular communication style, and also make sure that you don't accidentally use it yourself. So look, those are the 5 communication styles, and also some negative examples that you should not use because they're not really helping you in the long run, and also how to identify them if somebody else uses them on you, right? So just really being clear, again, what is it that you really want in communication, right? Like in interaction with another person. So look, if you like this video, of course, like that video, subscribe to my channel, share it with your girlfriends. And the question of the day today is actually like, what is your favorite communication style, and who has what communication style in your area? You have your girlfriends, your coworkers, your mom, your dad, what have you uncovered today from this video? And of course, if you want to learn more how to attract that right man for you, come on over to magnetizeyourman.com and take my quiz so you know exactly what's getting in the way of you attracting the right man for you. This is it for today. Much love to you, and I will talk to you soon. Take care. Mwah!